100 Influencer Challenge. Today we're gonna help you understand how top D2C brands are working with influencers, successfully generating money and revenue, working with influencers and content creators. And we're gonna give you the tools, the tips, the secret formulas on how to get 100 influencers to speak about your brand in just 4 days. So I will share all my knowledge working with plus 200 brands on influencer marketing campaigns, on how you can build an army of influencers to speak about your brand, and how you can successfully generate revenue or visibility using those influencers. So first, before we start and go into the details of this event, just a quick introduction on myself. I used to be an agent for several influencers across different fields. I also run programs for several D2C brands on how to work with influencers. I help manage more than 100 influencers a month, working with several brands, generating millions of revenues with those influencers. And then I launched an influencer marketing platform, which now helps brands to automate all their work with influencers. And that's something we'll actually cover on how you can automate your influencer marketing program to be more successful. Just a few short case studies on how I work with several brands. So here's two brands examples that I can share with you. One is a fashion brand. They just launched on the market and needed to work with influencers, but they didn't have much budget and they wanted to gain awareness quickly. So the goal was to generate new followers and build traffic to their website. So we use a combination of tactics, and just in 4 weeks, we helped them to get more than 10,000 new followers using just 10 influencers and several small content creators. On the other side is a skincare brand based in New York, already successful or working with some influencers, but they never managed to get sales working with influencers, more awareness, and they had a specific day of promotional day at their retailer and they wanted to generate revenue. So the goal was, how can we find the right influencers to boost that revenue, the revenue on that specific day? They increased their sales by 900% on that specific day compared to the year before, just using influencers. So it's all about using the right tactics, making sure that influencers are aligned with your objectives, and that's something we'll cover in this event. So what we learned today, we learned a few things. One, I will teach you how to build your influencer marketing strategy. You cannot be successful with influencers if you don't have a proper strategy in place. Two, I will help you setting up your influencer program. When you work with influencers, it's very important to consider it as another marketing channel. I see many times brands making the mistake of thinking, I'm just going to send a few products to some influencers and generate a lot of revenue and thousands of dollars from that. It doesn't work like that. If you look at all the successful brands who generated money with influencers and built multi-million dollar brands, they did it by having a planned strategy and a strong influencer program in place. And that's something I will teach you today on how to build that program. We'll also look how successful brands have built their program. We look into real case studies and real life examples. And then finally, I will help you to measure the results of your program and your campaigns, how to track the results, and also how to improve based on the results. And finally, stay until the end. At the end, I will share a special gift, actually several gifts worth $5,000. So it will be an access to our platform, an access to free tools to help you automate your influencer marketing program, and also an access to free templates, free also briefs, templates, and everything you need to basically launch your influencer marketing program. Great. So first, building your influencer marketing strategy. If you look, probably you have heard about many successful case study of businesses like Gymshark, Alo Yoga, Glossier. There's so many businesses. Daniel Wellington who generated a ton of revenue from influencers in the last few years, especially with the rise of Instagram and TikTok. Um, but the goal is to understand how they built those $1 million empires, right? How did they manage to generate $1 billion in sales? Using influencers, using social media? The answer is, of course, influencers, but it's more than that. It's influencer marketing is a numbers game, right? You need to get more and more influencers to speak about your brand to become successful. And if you look at all these brands, the thing they have in common is that they have thousands, millions of influencers who speaks about their brand constantly on social media. And that's something we'll cover today is how can you get influencers to speak about your brand quickly and in a positive way. But why are influencers so successful? And that's something that is important to understand and cover is why makes influencer marketing more successful than other marketing channels today. From recent studies, we are seeing that if you work with influencers, you can get 7 times the revenue you invest. But that's not always the case, right? If you don't do your influencer marketing properly, you're not going to get that type of results. But the successful brand I mentioned previously, they managed to scale their business because they got influencer marketing right. And how they got it right, it's important to understand what are influencers and why are they so successful. The main reason is that people trust people, and they don't trust brands. If you think about it, if you see an ad on TV, you might not want to buy the product, but maybe at some point you will buy the product. But for sure, the difference between seeing an ad on TV and having a friend or family member to say something positive about a brand or recommend you a brand, the power for you as a customer, as a consumer to buy the product is much more powerful because you trust your friends, you trust your family, you trust their advice. I mean, to some of them, but you trust the recommendation that they will give you more than you would trust an ad on TV. Because an ad on TV are brands that are trying to sell you something rather than a friend is trying to advise you on a product that they have tried. And that's a similar way of working and seeing the relationship with influencers. Influencers have built trusted audiences around specific topics. So generally, influencers, they have audiences who trust their judgment, who follow their advice, who like the content that they do around specific topics. It can be around beauty, fashion, education, whatever. But at the end of the day, the audience trusts them on a specific topic. And that's what makes it powerful because when they make a recommendation to that audience will trust more their opinion than they would trust an ad. And this is why the return on investment is much higher. And we see that across multiple studies, right? So you're seeing that 62% of consumers trust influencers more than they trust traditional celebrities. 74% of D2C brands identify influencers as the top marketing channel, and this is in 2024. Why? Because the return on investment is much higher than other marketing channels. And also it's all across the board, right? It's what we're seeing also is that when you use influencers in your ads, you also get 80% more results than when you just use brand content. Just because people trust more other people. When they see people, they see it as a more authentic content and they engage more with it. Now, something probably you didn't know is that influencers actually existed for centuries. We have just heard the phenomenon about influencers in the last 5-10 years, but they have existed for several centuries. In fact, there are several case studies across the ages that shows that some personalities, some celebrities were able to influence customers and consumers around specific brands. If you're seeing in the 20s, Coco Chanel was one of the first fashion influencers and icons, and people were inspired by what they were, which made the brand Chanel successful. In the 80s, you had Nike, who at the time was a small company and not the successful company that it is today. And they signed Michael Jordan, making him their main ambassador. So influencers have existed for a long time. They have been celebrities, personalities who influence audiences. Now, what has changed in the last 10 years is that everyone can become an influencer. In the past, you had to build a successful brand, you have to create an innovation, you have to be an athlete, you have to be an actor. You had to add something special to be an influencer or celebrity. Today, with the rise of social media, this is possible for everyone. This is the example, this is an example of an influencer who actually is a cheese maker in Switzerland, and he has more than 700,000 followers and can influence on one topic, which is cheese. But he's actually an expert and an influencer in that category. So this illustrates that anyone can become an influencer on social media if they manage to create engaging content that will speak to an audience. And that made influencer marketing more scalable and more affordable, because in the past, when you wanted to hire a celebrity, you had to spend several millions or thousands of dollars to get that celebrity to speak about your brand. With influencer marketing now, you can find people with 10,000 followers in your niche who can advertise your product. And that makes it very attractive to brands, because they can find 100,000 of small accounts who could potentially influence an audience at a much cheaper price than if they would, for example, sponsor a big celebrity. Now, the fourth claim is only big brands can use influencers. And there are so many brands who think, oh, Kardashians or Kendall Jenner or, athletes are way too expensive for me. I will never be able to do that. But there's not only, millions and millions of followers, influencers. There's also small, micro, nano influencers who can generate awareness, who can give visibility to your products at a cheap price and being much more affordable than if you were doing advertising on TV or on Facebook ads or any other marketing channels. So that's something we will unlock and we will look at in this event today, is how, as a small business, can you start with influencer marketing. In fact, those are 3 brands that we recently helped generating thousands of creator mentions in the last few months using our solutions. And these brands are ranging from $10,000 revenue per year to $10-20 million revenue. But something that they have in common is that they use heavily influencers to promote their brands. And we will see exactly how they use influencers and what's the strategy, what's the tactic behind that. So what's the first step of creating your strategy, and how do you set up your strategy? I would summarize it in 4 steps. The first one is you need to first understand your goal. It doesn't matter if you work with influencers or if you do ads on TV or if you do ads on Facebook. You need to have a goal. You need to have an objective. What do you want to achieve? The principal mistake that I see from a lot of brands is to say, my objective is all of that. So I want to do sales, I want to do awareness, I want to create content. Not all of that is possible. You need to first focus, unless you have a multi-million-dollar budget and you can focus on different aspects of your brand. But if you're just starting with influencers, you have a limited budget, you need to focus on one core objective. Do you want to get more followers? Do you want to be visible? Do you want to build social proof to go and see investors? Do you want to generate content you can reuse on your ads? Do you want to drive directly sales from influencers to your website? What's your objective, right? So first you need to understand that and write it down. Once you have your objective, it's all about understanding who is your audience. So you cannot use influencers to influence an audience if you don't know who your audience is. And that's critical, right? You need to understand who is your audience, who is the audience of your competitors, who are you trying to influence, what's their interest, what's their demographics, what type of brands do they already buy from, what influencers do they follow. All of that is critical for you to properly set up your influencer marketing strategies. There are several tools that you can use to do that. There is a tool, Answer the Public, that I recommend a lot, that you can see actually what people are looking for on Google regarding specific terms, right? You can look on search engines and understand what are people interested about your type of products, what they are looking for, what they're searching for. That will help you to understand the intention of your audience. Two, you need to understand your demographics. Who are the people who are following either you on social media? If you already have an audience, you can look at your stat on Instagram directly or any other social media platforms. Or if you don't yet have an audience, you can look at your competitors and you can understand who are the people who follow your competitors. Are they men, women? What's the age range? Where are they based? What's their interest? What the type of content they engage the most with? Who are the influencers your competitor are actually using to promote to that audience? You can either find all of these stats manually, looking through social media, looking through the followers list, looking through the people who, the influencers who tagged your competitors, or you can use other solutions. For example, I recommend Particle, great software to analyze competitor, especially for D2C brands. And our software, Click Analytics, that can give you any demographic insights on brands across Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, which will help you to understand who are the influencers these brands are working with and who is the audience who is following them. Once you have defined your goal and your audience, you know you want to target, you know the goal that you want to achieve. Now, what is your budget? Often I see brands thinking influencer marketing can just be a free channel. I'm just going to try it for free, just send some products and then see what are the results. If you want to get success with influencers, you need to have a budget. You need to take it seriously. You need to think about it as a proper marketing channel. It's not going to work if you think it's just a free way to get results. Even if you send products, it will cost you something. So you need to establish what is the budget. How many products can you afford to send for free to creators? How much cash investment you can make on top of that to sponsor specific influencers? What's the budget you can make on ads to promote influencer content? So all of these questions are very important to answer. And that's something you need to have the answers for before you even start contacting, searching influencers. So that's part also of your strategy, is to understand what's the budget you want to spend. Something you can do is use a software, again, like Click Analytics. There's also other influencer platform you can use, but you can try to understand. There's some free tools online also. What's the minimum price influencer would charge on average based on their size? That can help you to draft your budget. So if you understand, for example, that influencers between 10 to 50,000 followers would charge between, let's say, $500 to $1,000 for a post, then you know that if you want, let's say, on 10, 20 influencers, then you know a bit the budget that you want to spend. So that's also something to consider. Then, are you ready? So influencers is about reaching to new audiences, right? It's about using their expertise, their audience, their community to get visibility for your products. Whenever you want to drive sales, you want to drive awareness, the goal is the same, is to reach new audiences. Now, if you reach new audiences, but then your website is not ready, your products packaging is not attractive, your offer on your website is not optimized. If all of that is not built prior to launching an influencer marketing campaign, then you're not going to get any results. So it's also very important that you do your homework on your side and you build all the necessary tools, all the necessary things that you need to build on your website to make your product attractive to new audiences. For example, if you want to drive new followers to your Instagram page, if you don't have any posts, if your bio is not optimized, if your content is ugly, you're not going to get new followers. The influencers can be the best influencer in the world. If your content is not attractive, no one is going to follow your page. Same on your website. If your website is not built, is not optimized, your checkout process is not simple, is not built to generate revenue, you're not going to generate sales. So all of that is critical for you to generate success with influencers. Now, we have established the strategy. Now, how do we find the first influencers for your campaign? It's a problem that is faced by 80% of marketers. How do you find the right influencers? And that's often why campaigns fail using influencers, is that people don't find the right profiles. Now, I'm going to share with you 3 secret solutions from D2C experts. One, use a discovery tool. I see so many brands going manually looking for influencers on Instagram, on TikTok, using hashtags. This will not get you the best influencer for your brand. You need to find influencers based on statistics. Are they reaching the right audience? Do they have fake followers? Do they have good followers? Do they have an engaged audience? Are they working with my competitors? You need to answer several questions to make sure influencers are the right fit for you. And if you do that manually, it's going to take you ages. So you want to save time. You want to be able to effectively identify the right influencers for your brand. So there are several tools that you can use to do that. Click Analytics, which you can see on the screen, is our solution. We have more than 300 million influencers. You can find anyone on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok across various niches and sectors. So we cover more than 60 countries. You can find anyone and you can put the filters and select the right set. So that will help you save a lot of time, but not only that, it will help you to identify the right influencers based on statistics and the type of content that they do. Once you've found the right discovery software, there's some stats you need to look for when you identify influencers. Whenever you do that manually or using a tool, there's several stats you need to look at. One is engagement rate. You need to make sure that the audience is engaged with the influencer. If you have an influencer with 1 million followers, but they only have 0.1% of their audience who engage with their content, you're not going to generate any results. Same, if the engagement is high, but the number of fake followers is also very high, then you're just going to reach bots. You're not going to reach real people, real consumers who can be interested in your product. Something also to check. 3, mass followers. You need to make sure that you reach normal people. Usually a red flag is when you see that there's a lot of people who follow specific influencers who themselves follow more than 1,000 other accounts. This typically is an indicator that they are not real accounts. They are, mass follower accounts. So it's not real engaged consumers within the audience of the influencer. So vetting the audience is very important. Vetting the engagement of the audience as well. What's also their potential reach? So what are you paying for? Well, how many people can they reach with a video if you want to do videos? How many people can they reach with a story if you want to do stories? So all of that is important to check, and also the audience demographics and interest. You want to make sure the audience match the audience you establish in your strategy and in your goals, and you want to make sure that they are interested in the type of product you are selling. All of this info, you can find it across an influencer platform. On our software, if you analyze any influencer, you can find all of this information in like 2 seconds. So that will help you to make sure the influencers are the right fit for you. Now, of course, the stats might differ a bit depending on what's your objective. If you want to do sales, then the clicks, the engagement of the audience, the type of audience is very important. If you want to generate awareness, then it's all about views, impressions, engagement rate. So the stats might differ a bit, but those are the critical stats you need to look for. Now, what makes a good influencer? That's something we'll review together. Just as an example, here's an influencer that I will identify as a bad influencer. Those statistics are, by the way, from our software, clickanalytics.com. What we can see here is a few things. One, majority of the audience is fake. 83% of the audience is fake. 8% of the audience are influencers or brands because they have more than 5,000 followers. Then there's only 7% of the audience who are real followers. So basically, if you pay this influencer to sponsor for your brand, you will only reach 7% of the audience, then only the engaged followers within the 7%. So you might basically just reach 1% of the audience. So it's not worth it. Also, the audience location, let's say that you want to target influencers in the US with an audience in the US. If that influencer has the majority of the audience in Brazil or India, again, not worth your investment. Now, if we look at what's a good influencer, what we can see here is if these influencers, majority of their audience, more than 60%, is a really good engaged audience. Very little amount mass followers among our audience, 80% US based, That's the perfect type of followers, of influencer. Now, another option is also to let influencers come to you. So you don't need only to search them, you can also let them come to you. And that's something that successful brands have built as part of the influencer program. If you look at Skims, for example, on their website, you have a thing at the bottom. You can go on their website. At the bottom of their website, in the footer, you will see influencers as a menu. If you click, it goes to a web page, and people can apply to join the influencer program. Same on Instagram. Many brands will have like a link tree or a link where influencers can join just by clicking there, and there is a form to fill. All of that will help you to generate influencers who are interested to promote your product. To start, if you don't have any audience, any followers, you of course need to build that first. You need to get your first influencers to promote your brand. But after some point, if you get enough influencers to promote your brand, other influencers in their network will be interested about your business and will want to partner with you. So you need a proper way to let them come to you rather than for you to always go to them. That will also give you more negotiation power when you speak to influencers. Because if they come to you, you can negotiate better deals rather than if you go to them, they know that you are interested in sponsoring their content and they have different demands, so they will be more expensive. Third option, you can also steal from competitors. That's actually something I would highly recommend. Is free. What you can do is just go to the Instagram or TikTok page of your competitors. You can go in the tag section of their profile and you can find all the influencers who mention them. That's a great way for you to identify influencers who are already promoting your competitors. Usually they must have an audience that is interested about your competitor's product, so they can be the great fit for you. You can do it manually by doing the solution I just mentioned, or you can use a tool, again, like Click Analytics, to automatically get a list of all the influencers who have engaged with your competitors and mentioned them in their content. We have actually a filter on the Discovery database where you can put brand mention. You can put any brands you want. You'll get all the influencers who mention them. Now, let's just do a quick recap on the checklist. So first, important to set up your goals, define your audience, plan your budget, prepare your assets, landing page, website, social media account, then select a search tool, influencer platform that you want to use to run your campaign, and then make your first list of 100 influencers for your brand using that tool. Now, we have built the strategy, we have identified how to look for influencers, we have set up our first list of 100 influencers. Now, how do we set up our program successfully? So, the question is, how are successful D2C brands working with influencers? That's something we're going to cover right now. How do we build successful influencer programs? You will see that top brands like Gymshark, Glossier, Alo Yoga, all these brands have something in common. They have built scalable machines. They are able to get 100,000 of influencers each month to come to them and negotiate partnership with all of them and get brand mentions on their accounts. Now, how do they do that? If you take the example of Skims here, they got more than 47,000 influencers to mention them on Instagram only. How are they doing that? They are using different strategies. One is, as we saw before, an affiliate page on their website that let influencers come to them. Another are giveaway and contests. So if you do giveaways, you will generate more followers, but also you will attract audiences from other different accounts that will get interested about your products and then potentially apply to your affiliate page. 3, they will search using a tool influencers themselves that they will add to their program as well. So that's part of a usually marketing team that will use a tool to create a database of influencers based on stats that they think is a good fit. 4, organic reach. The more influencers you partner with, the more influencers that will come to you and request for a partnership. And then finally, a lot of successful brands are doing cross partnership with other brands. For example, here you have Skims and Swarovski. By doing that, what you will do is reach to a new audience. So if you do a collaboration on social media with another brand, or if you co-create a product, or if you do a contest with another brand or a giveaway, you will reach to their audience. And within the audience, they will usually have influencers interested about their brand that might also be interested about your brand. So that's also a great way to get influencers to speak about your brand if you do cross partnerships with other brands. Also, that's a way to reduce cost. You can basically negotiate with other brands to combine your budget together, so you can hire influencers to co-promote to promote your collaboration with that brand. So that's also a strategy used by several successful D2C brands. Now, how do you get influencers to reply? It's easy for me to say, okay, look for influencers, generate a list of 100 profiles, but how do you get them to reply to your brand? Especially if no one knows about your brand, if you're just starting out. Easy. You need 3 key steps. So I will show you how I built for several brands automated ways to contact influencers and get 100 of replies every week. 1, you need to find emails. You have your list of 100 influencers. Now you need to populate that list with emails. You have 2 ways to get emails. 1, manually. So you go on the Instagram page, for example, or TikTok page of the influencer. You have a button called email. You click it, you copy it, and you put it in your database. A bit manual, but it's free. One thing is, for Instagram, you can only do that from your phone. You cannot do that from the computer, so you need to do it from your phone, copy with your phone, and then copy paste it into your CRM. 2, you can automate that. Again, on Kik-Analytics, what you can do is create a list of influencers. You have 1 button to click, and then it generates all the email addresses of all the influencers. You can do that on other platforms as well, but that's why using an influencer platform will help you save a lot of time. Once you have the emails, you need to craft your email. You need to make your email interesting enough for the influencer to reply. Something important to consider. Influencers receive so many emails every day. I was an agent for influencers. I used to run their mailbox. They receive hundreds of offers every day from scam brands, real good brands, agencies, many different type of businesses. You need to make your email stand out. And the way to do that is to follow this structure that I have built to generate replies from influencers. You need to always follow this structure. First, a quick personalized icebreaker, meaning you get it personalized. You call them by their first name, you compliment their account, you make something that would be relatable to them. If you know how to use ChatGPT, you can also use the API of ChatGPT to automatically generate personalized icebreaker sentences for you. Otherwise, you can just do a sentence that is similar to their account. For example, if you're looking for skincare influencers, you can mention that you love their content about skincare, being a skincare brand yourself, or anything like that. 2, you need to introduce your brand. Keep it short. Do not write an essay on why your brand is amazing. They don't care. Have a quick sentence to explain what your brand is doing, what is your product, and bring some social proof. Say, for example, we were mentioned in Vogue magazine in Elle, or we raised $20 million last year, or we work with that celebrity, or anything that you can show as a social proof that your product is valuable, is interesting, something that will trigger the interest. 3, you need a hook. So this is where you make your offer, right? You need to make your offer irresistible. So you need to go to the point. Don't go around and try to negotiate on the email. No, be clear about what you want. You want them to join your affiliate program? Then tell them, we love for you to join our affiliate program where we have already 300 more affiliates working with us every month, generating X amount of revenue per month. If you want them to send you your pricing, you want to pay them to do a sponsor post, ask them for the price. Tell them, look, we would like to buy you 2 posts and 3 stories. What's your pricing for that? You need to tell them what you want from them. And finally, you need to have a CTA. So at the end of every email, you need to push them to do an action, either to answer your email or click on the link or sign up somewhere, whatever you want, but you need them to get to do an action. Once you build your first email, it's about making it the sales process. Something I realized, I used to send manually emails myself. So I used to send one by one. I used to send 100, 200 emails a month. And every time, one by one, send emails, I would waste so much time. The issue also with that is you can calculate if people actually open your emails, if they're interested, like if they click on your website or anything like that. And you can't really see if your emails are actually working or not. So take it as a sales process. If you are reaching out to, let's say, retailers and you want them to promote your product, you will usually do that as a sales process and mass email those people. Do the same with influencers. There's a lot of great email tools out there that you can use. Basically, generate your list of influencers, craft your emails on those tools, import your list, and create automated follow-ups. This is very important. I would recommend to at least follow up 4 times to each influencer. Why? Because at each follow-up steps, you will generate 50% more answers than if you do it, if you just send one email. So sending one email will not get you as many answers, but if you follow up 3 times after that, you will generate basically 150% more answers. So that's something very important I would recommend. There's so many good tools you can use. There's Lemlist, there's Instantly. Also on our website on Click Analytics, we have our own email software, so you can do everything within one platform. You can just send your list of creators to your email sequence, as you can see it here on the screen, and then automatically create emails and follow-ups to send to all of these influencers. Once you have built your email sequence, you start sending emails to influencers, you need to build your CRM. You need to keep track of everything. Who are the influencers you contacted? What's their links? What's their bio? Where are they from? What's their stats? When did you contact them the first time? What's their price when they answer you and they tell you the price? You can write the price down. What's the agreement you have with them? All of that need to be written within one place. This is actually a CRM that we typically build for clients, where you can save all your answers within a Google Sheets or an Excel file. It's usually the best. This is how most of the brands are running influencer programs. They have a massive Excel file where they manage all the relationship with influencers. That will help you to be organized, not miss anything, and then also be more successful when working with influencers. Now, how do you activate those influencers? Let's say you have 100 influencers, they replied, they say, I'm interested, I want to work with you. How do you activate those profiles? So successful D2C brands are using a specific technique that I will show you. We call it the multiple touch point technique. So when working with influencers, something very interesting is that you can use them across many different channels and across many different ways. If you look at Skims here, they are using them all across the board. So the 47 creators who we saw before came into their program, they're using them into their outdoor ads, or also on TV ads. They're using them for UGC, user-generated content. So they are just buying content from influencers and then they reuse that content on their websites, on their ads, or they do whitelisting, which I will go into that in a moment. They also use influencers as ambassadors, as partners. So they sponsor influencers to promote on their own platforms and to get audiences interested about Skims. They also do events. So they invite influencers to specific events, which generate, engagement, which generate real life experiences. That's also critical for influencer marketing success, is to get those experiences, this authenticity within your partnerships. Then gifting. A lot of brands are sending a lot of packages, products, usually around specific occasions. For example, Skims during the Olympics in Paris, they were one of the first brands to partner with the US team. And what they did is that they sent a nice package to all the influencers, all the athletes there with their products. So gifting, very important as well. So as you can see, there is a lot of ways you can partner with influencers. it's not only just paying influencers to promote on their page, it's also how do you get the most out of these influencers. And what makes these brands so successful is that they reuse their content all across the board. So they will pay, for example, for one influencer to sponsor on their account. Then they will do whitelisting, which is whitelisting is basically sponsoring that post. So you are paying Facebook or Instagram ads to boost the post. So rather than reaching just 30% of the audience of the influencers, which is typically what you reach with the algorithm, you might reach, 100%. So you reach much more people by sponsoring and boosting that post. Another way also is to buy the rights of the content and then reuse it on your own ads across your own account. Another way as well is to boost the engagement on your own social media account or on your website to generate more conversion on the checkout page by using the content created by the influencers. So what I'm trying to illustrate is that don't see influencer marketing just as a simple sponsor post with one influencer and then basically you will get thousands of sales. To make it successful, you need to build a solid program where you maximize the usage and the investment of your influencer marketing campaigns. Right. Now, the question is, let me just go back here. Yeah. So what's the key to a successful campaign? And I tell that to all my clients. Repetition. Don't think that if you just pay for one post, you're going to get, again, thousands of sales. It doesn't work like that. If you think about it, if you see an ad on TV, people will not buy for an ad on TV for just 1 day and 5 seconds. You will see that ad on TV every day for several days. Why? Because it's about getting your brand into the mind of people. If you just pay for a few stories 1 day on an influencer account, yes, if you're lucky, you might get really good results. But most of the time, you're not going to get amazing results. Why? Because the audience is just discovering your brand. They are just getting to know your brand, know the benefits across maybe a content that will last for 10, 20 seconds. This is not how you generate sales. You will need the influencers to do repetitive content. Basically, what I recommend is to do it across several weeks. So the first week, you introduce the product, you introduce the problem. You let the influencer introduce the problem to the audience. So basically, let's say you have skincare issues, but the first week they will introduce, oh, I have this problem with my skin. I'm looking for a product to solve that. Actually find that specific brand. Let's see what are the results. Week 2, you focus on the product. This is the product. This is the benefits they have. I have been applying it for a week. This is how it works, and so on. Week 3, these are the results I'm getting with the product. It's working. I love it, and so on. This will generate you sales because it will seem more authentic. And the followers of the influencer will think that the influencers truly like the product and truly make it a recommendation. Rather than if you just see a classic sponsor post, they will think it's just an ad, and they will not fully understand the benefit of the product. So key, do repetitive partnerships. Now, just as a recap, this is how brands like Gymshark, Alo Yoga, all these brands are generating results with influencers. They are building huge programs with influencers. On one side, you have a way to generate thousands of creators to come and promote and speak about your brand. And on the other side is how do you reutilize their content all across the board to generate results for your business. Now you might think, okay, this is great, but Skims is a multi-million-dollar brand. This is super complicated to build. I don't know how we can build that as a small business. Well, you are getting a great point here. Of course, multi-million-dollar brands can afford to do outdoor advertising, ads, whitelisting, ambassadors. They can do multiple things. As a small brand, you want to start building your program step by step. First, you want to build your affiliate page. You want to start your first giveaway. You want to look for your first influencers and contact them. All of these 3 steps will give you the 2 other steps. It will give you organic reach. It will give you interest from other brands to do partnership with you. Once you get your first influencers to speak about your brand, you can focus on doing first, gifting, or you can do first ambassadors. Then you can try to reuse the content. So you can negotiate within the same deal to reuse the content across your organic post, for example. It's all about being smart in the way you use the content of the influencers and start slowly building your program. You're not going to get 47,000 creators in a week to promote your brand. That's not how it works. Influencer marketing is a numbers game. You need to get more and more creators to speak about your brand. And to do that, you need to build the right tools in place to get influencers aware of your brand. And you need to get the first ambassador first to speak about your business and your products. So my advice is take it step by step and automate as much as you can. Being a small business, you will not be able to afford a huge marketing team, so try to automate as much as you can. Checklist of the second step, craft your emails, make sure to follow the structure, set up an automated flow, contact 100 creators. One thing I will mention here, if you want 100 creators to join your influencer program, you need to contact at least twice that amount. So you need to contact 200 creators. Why? Because you're not going to get answers from all the creators. You're going to get maybe 50% of the answers. So you want to maximize the number of creators who will reply so you get more negotiation power. So if you need 100 creators, make a list of 200, contact 200, and at the end, you would get 100 creators to join your program. Build your CRM to monitor everything. Very important, multiple touchpoint activation. Maximize the way you use the partnership with influencers and then do repeat partnerships. Now, 3, how to measure and track your performance. Now, how do you measure success? So it's something that is based on your goals. Again, as we saw at the beginning, you might have a different goal for your business. So how you measure success is based on your goal. So one thing I want to show you here is based on your goals, you have different metrics that you can use. And I have summarized for you all the metrics that you need to look at. If you want brand awareness, then your metrics will be more around reach. How many people do you reach? How many impressions do you get? How many mentions from creators do you get? How many views do you get from videos and so on? It's all about how much exposure you are getting from influencers. 2, if you want to get traffic to your website, it's all about how many people are actually clicking on the content and going to your website. How many people went on the link that you created to measure the traffic. What's the cost that you are paying, the CPC, the cost per click. What's the cost per click you are paying for each influencer, and which influencers is the best into getting you traffic at a cheaper rate. 3, boost sales. Very important, of course, revenue. Looking at how many sales you have made, but also how many sales you have made through the influencer specifically. So if you create promo codes, then you can track the sales through specific promo codes. The clicks as well, how many people went on the page, but how many people actually converted into a paying clients. The conversion rates, the CPA, so the cost per acquisition, how much you are paying to get revenue, to get a sale, and which influencers, again, it generates the most affordable cost of acquisition. And then finally, build the credibility. So if you want to build credibility, then what's important is engagement rates, the mentions, the reviews you are getting from creators that you can then reuse to get the social proof for your business. So just as a summary, based on your goal, you will have different metrics. You need to implement those metrics into your CRM and tracking system so that you can track properly the results of creators. And then after that, you can improve, right? If you are seeing that some creators are getting you a lot of impression, a lot of reach, some more affordable clicks than other influencers, you know which one you need to reuse in future campaigns and you know which one you need to avoid. That will also help you to understand the type of content that works the best and how to do similar content with other influencers. Now, what's the secret formula that D2C brands are using to make influencer marketing work? I will advise for you to follow all these points here. This will make all your influencer marketing campaigns successful. First, identify the right influencers. 2, give them creative freedom. Don't give them too many guidelines. They know their audience better than you, so let them promote to their audience the way they know how to promote it. 3, leverage UGC. UGC is big now in 2024. The question is, how can you use that content across different channels? We saw that before. Reuse the content created by the influencers across your ads, across your website. 4, carefully track and measure results. We saw that just before. You select your metrics, you put it into your CRM, then you track the results, and based on the results, you improve your next campaigns. We saw that before. You use the content across channels. So again, the UGC, you can reuse it across different channels. A/B test and improve. Again, that's based on tracking the results, but you need to test different type of content. You need to test different type of creations. You need to test different type of influencers. Don't stay specific on one niche. Let's say your audience are women between 25, 34 in the US interested in beauty products. You can look at beauty product experts, but you can also look at moms or lifestyle influencers. So try to find different type of influencers that will work best, then A/B test and see which one give you the best results. And then finally, repeat campaigns, no one-off deals. Try to do repetitive content with each influencer. That's how you're going to get the results. So many brands will often tell me, well, all of this is great. You gave me all the strategies that successful brands are putting in place, but I'm a small business and sometimes I contact influencers, they don't want to work with me. Well, what I will answer to that is that's all based on one, are you ready? Did you build your assets? Is your website, interesting to influencers? Do you know how to sell your product? Do you have a social media page in place with some nice content? All of that will help you to make influencers want to work with you. Also, craft your email in the right way. Make an irresistible offer in your email to push them to work with you. And then finally, it's not because you're a small business that you will not be able to work with super successful influencers. Let me give you one example. Have you heard of Triangle? Triangle is a multi-million-dollar swimwear brand. They basically sell bikinis. It's a US brand. They have today 2.5 million followers. They're making millions of revenue. Now, it was not always the case. In 2014, they started as a small bikini brand. No one had heard of them. No one didn't know who was Triangle. So how did they get famous? How did they generate millions of dollars in revenue? Well, they had a plan. And the plan was they wanted to have Kendall Jenner, who is a huge, one of the biggest influencer and celebrity in the US, to post about them on social media. The issue is a post from Kendall Jenner costs $1.8 million, and she can help you reach almost 300 million people on Instagram. So huge exposure, but impossible budget. How do you make that happen? With zero budget. You're a small brand, they're a small bikini brand, they don't have any reputation, nobody heard about them. How do they make it so Kendall Jenner will post about their brand? Well, the solution was they were bold and they were creative. What they did is they sent free products to all the friends of Kendall Jenner who were less known as her, but just were starting on social media, had a small audience there, but they know that they were friends with Kendall Jenner. They sent products to all her friends except her. So that at one point, Kendall Jenner directly asked the brand to get products as well. Why? Because of FOMO, the fear of missing out. She saw that all her friends were getting this new product, these new bikinis, and saw that a lot of people were speaking about them online. And she was like, why am I not getting those products? So she asked the brand, can I get the products? And in exchange, she did a quick post, as you can see it here on Twitter. She did on Instagram, you can see that she did a post about the brand. So that's the lesson, is how do you get a $1.8 million post for free? You make it smart tactic. You find the friends, you find smaller creators, and you get people to speak about your product. Now, 3 years later, 3 years after that, they were selling 1,500 bikinis a day, making $45 million in revenue. So that's the success story you want to follow. Now, the question is, are you ready to scale your brand with influencers? If you are, after everything that we've learned today, I have some gift that I can give to you, that I can offer you. But before I give you the gift, here's a quick checklist recap on everything we've just learned regarding measuring and tracking campaigns. First, you need to select your KPIs. You need to track the results and improve. Important as well, you can spy on your competitors. So you can look at your competitors. You can look at what they are doing with influencers, the type of activation that they do. All of that is free. You can use Facebook Ads Library. You can use TikTok Ads Library. You can look at the tag section on Instagram. You can find what your competitors are doing and then try to copy them, try to imitate them, try to work with similar creators. But at the same time, you need to stay bold. You need to stay creative. You need to try things. Don't let the creative freedom away from creators. Again, they know how to market to their audience. You don't. So let them be creative. Let them sell your product the way they want to sell them. Just give them some guidance on how to sell your product, what's the main benefits and so on, but let them be creative. Finally, don't forget influencer marketing is a numbers game. Now, how do we get 100 influencers to mention your brand? What I'm going to do is now you have all the tools, all the tips, all the strategies that you need to create a successful influencer marketing program. What I want to offer you today is a gift that is worth $5,000, and I want to give it to you for free. This will help you to launch successfully your first influencer marketing campaigns. I will offer you 5 email templates that I have used myself and my clients have used on influencer campaigns that gives a 70% reply rate. On top of that, I will give you the ultimate guidelines that I have built to contact influencers. I will also give you 2 free months access to our software, Click Analytics, so you can find 100,000 of influencers using our tool. You can generate all their emails and you can contact them automatically using our email tool and also track your campaigns automatically within our software. I will give you that for free for 2 months so you can kick off your programs and you can get early success for your brand. I will also give you a list of 1,000 top UGC creators and influencers that we have listed with my team in 2024 that are getting success for brands on social media. And then finally, I will give you an hour strategy session with me. It will be 2 sessions of 30 minutes each. I will give you personalized advice. I will answer all of your questions. I will look into your business and help you make your first list of influencers. And then together, we're going to make a successful influencer marketing campaign for your business and generate revenue with influencers. In those 2 sessions, the first session will be understanding your business, understanding what you need, helping you craft your first list, your first emails to influencers. Second strategy session will be to understand your first results and help you improve it and generate better success. So to get all of that for free, simply scan the QR code here, book your spot with me for your first 30 minutes strategy session. Within the first 30 minutes, I will also give you access to all the other free gifts, so the 3-month access and the email templates and also the list. All of that will be accessible during the call. So don't miss it. Book your spot. If you don't want a $5,000 free gift and you want to do it on your own, feel free to do it. If you have any other question, if you need help on our side, you can connect with me on LinkedIn and feel free to reach out. Always happy to help. In any way, I hope this session was successful. I'm sure your business can generate a lot of revenue with influencers if you follow all the guidelines that we covered today. All these brands that we saw, remember that they started as a small business. They didn't have millions of dollars in revenue. They all started like you and they went to the top using specific strategies. So follow them, and you will generate success. I wish you all the best. Again, if you need anything, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, book your spot, and you will get all the free gifts. Thank you so much and have a nice day.